Hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today's disc review, we are taking a look at the Mamba from Innova Discs. In today's review, we're going to first take a look at the profile, feel, and specs for the Mamba, followed by the flight, both lefty and righty perspectives, the best uses out on the course, different plastic types it comes in, and then comparing those different plastic types with the lefty lines follow flight. And as always, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future reviews. In my collection, I own several different Mambas, and they range from a slight amount of dome to a medium amount. Even in the same plastic, you're able to find flatter and also slightly domier versions depending what you're looking for. These are both champions, and the one on the left is a little bit flatter on the top versus then the Halo Star, which is comparable to the domier champion on the right. Regardless though, if you have a flatter or slightly domed Mamba, they all feel very thin in the hand as they have a very shallow profile. That rim depth is very small, which gives the Mamba a consistently shallow feel. And when it came to the flexibility of the different plastic types, I do have to say the Champion was probably the gummiest or the most flexible. The Halo Star was probably the stiffest of the group, while the regular Star just met right in the middle. With that all out of the way, let's get to the reason why you are all here, the flight of the Mamba, starting with the flight numbers. Speed 11, glide 6, turn -5, and a fade of 1. Making the Mamba a great understable option for players who are just looking to get into distance drivers, or for those looking for huge tailwind bombers. In the earlier parts of the flight, the Mamba is definitely understable, so when you throw it on a hyzer line, you are going to get a lot of flip up, and depending on how much hyzer or what your arm speed is, I have a slower to medium arm, and even with my arm speed, I can still get it to flip up almost effortlessly, still get it to get a bit of a turn before then just as it slows down or stalls, it starts to check up and has a slight hyzer finish. But being a slower arm and being able to get it to flip up to flat so effortlessly means that if you are looking to learn how to hyzer flip a distance driver, you really need to try out the Mamba because it is such a great learning tool. But beware, because in most cases, the Mamba is not going to hold a hyzer. So the Mamba may not be best at holding those hyzer lines, but you know what it is good at, and that is effortless distance and effortless flex shots. When you throw it flat, you're going to get a big panning turn before just at the very end of the flight, it's going to check up. And once you do start putting it on those anhyzer lines, well, you don't have to put it on too much of an angle to get it to hold the turn nearly all the way to the ground, depending on the height. If you do throw it up high, then yes, it may start to fight out at the very end of the flight, but in most cases, no matter really what your arm speed is, unless you're a very slow arm, it is going to hold those anhyzer lines all the way to the ground. And due to that incredible understability in the earlier parts of the flight, you do have to hit your angles just right. The Mamba can get a little bit touchy, and unfortunately in some cases turn into an incidental thrower. But once you do learn that angle of release for your arm speed, you are going to be greatly rewarded because of its great glide and understability. For those of us with slower arms, the Mamba might just be one of the furthest flying distance drivers that we will ever throw. So how do I like to use the Mamba out on the course? When I have a lot of room off on one side of the fairway, I like to throw it out, let it pan back towards the middle and maybe just a little bit of a hyzer as it slows down. Also love it for those effortless hyzer flipping drives to get as much distance as possible before hyzering out, but also for those effortless flex shots where I can throw it flat or a little bit of anhyzer, get it around an obstacle, and then let it fight its way out towards the very end. Lastly, it is not to be underestimated for those uphill shots. We got a sneak peek earlier at some of the different plastic types that I do have the Mamba in. I personally have it in Star, the Halo Star, and then 2 Champions. One heavier and then one very, very lightweight, and you're going to see just how fun that lightweight is. But the Mamba does come in a good variety of plastics, some even in baseline, so you can really find the ones that matches your arm speed and does what you want it to do. Now, for those with bigger arms who want the same flight that I get out of the Champion so far, or maybe you're a slower arm like me and want a Mamba that's going to fight the wind, have a little more torque resistance, be good for forehands as you're seeing, the Halo Star is for you. Now with the Champion, if you're a slower arm, is a little bit too on the understable side, but you don't want the Halo Star because it might be a little bit too much on the overstable side. Well, the Star kind of fits right in between. It's good enough for forehand. It holds torque decently well. It's still going to get a lot of turn, but you may just still get a little bit of a fight back. And then this lightweight Champion, I love throwing these. If you can find one, get it. They are just so much fun. Maybe not just a bag, but just a throw, because they are so understable. They hold turnover shots effortlessly and are perfect for those uphill shots, those really steep uphill shots. Not to mention, if you throw them with a tailwind, well, let's just say I don't think mine has come to the ground yet. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Lefty line follow flights to see the differences in the flights between these different Mambas. For the Champion, very understable in the early and middle parts of the flight, and then just as it slows down, it wants to have just a little bit of a fade. Versus the Halo Star, it stays quite a bit straighter, checks up a lot sooner, and has a much harsher of a fade. The Star kind of meets them in the middle. It was thrown a little bit straighter for the camera angle, but you can see it got some turn in the mid-flight and then has a decent finish like the Halo Star did. And then the Champion, just to get it to not just almost turn into a roller, I had to throw it extremely high, still held a turn an incredibly long way, and just because of the height I gave it, it did have the chance to hyzer out. Overall, I love the Mamba. I can't say enough good things about it. The rim is very thin. Even though it's a speed 11, I can still get a comfortable grip no matter what Mamba I pick up. And then when it comes to the flight, you can get a few different varying shots depending on the plastic type. You have very understable, stupidly understable, but then with the Halo Star, it adds a little bit of a straightness to it where, you know, it's a little bit more torque resistant, it can hold forehands, it can be a slight wind fighter, be more straight, and then more of a stronger fade. For us slower arms, this is the king of distance drivers if you're looking to get into them. I cannot recommend it enough, except if there's a stiff headwind. Well, thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, smash that like button, and be sure to share this with your friends. Get that YouTube algorithm going. Again, thank you all so much. If you want to go ahead and purchase a Mamba or just purchase discs in general, be sure to visit GreatLakesDisc.com for all your disc buying needs. Such friendly service, amazing people over there at Great Lakes Disc. Cannot recommend them enough. Thank you guys so much for the support. Until next time, everyone, keep banging chains.